The clink of silverware against plates felt unnaturally loud in the dining room. Mom's pot roast, usually a comforting smell from my childhood visits back to Ohio, tonight just sat heavy in the air. I looked across the familiar oak table at my parents, Richard and Susan, and my younger brothers, Leo and Sam. Their faces held a strange mix of nervousness and satisfaction. It set my teeth on edge. Mom, Susan, cleared her throat, placing her fork down carefully beside her plate. Her gaze flickered towards Dad, Richard, who gave a stiff nod. Maya, she began, her voice strained with false brightness. Your father and I wanted to talk to you. We've made a final decision about the future. I waited, a knot tightening in my stomach. Dad picked it up, his voice flat, avoiding my eyes. We've finalized the will. We wanted you to hear it directly from us. He paused, swirling the water in his glass. Everything. The house, the lake cabin, the savings. It will all go to Leo and Sam. Silence crashed down. Everything? I stared at him, then at Mom, searching for a hint of hesitation, a sign this was some terrible misunderstanding. Leo leaned back, arms crossed, a familiar smirk playing on his lips. Yes, sis. Simple enough, right? It all comes to us. Sam, ever the echo, added quickly. Mom and Dad figure you're doing so well out there in Seattle, you know? Big tech job and all. You don't really need anything. We're the ones still finding our footing. He gestured vaguely, as if his perpetually stalled art career and Leo's string of failed startups were noble struggles. My own success, the result of years of grueling work, long hours, and countless sacrifices, was now the reason I was being completely cut off. The unfairness of it stole my breath. Nothing. After everything, nothing? The pot roast suddenly seemed tasteless on my tongue. I found my voice shaky at first. So, after everything, a decade of helping out, the mortgage checks, funding Leo's endless ventures, covering Sam's rent? This is it? I get zero because I actually built a career? Mom sighed, that familiar, disappointed look aimed my way. Maya, don't always make it about money. It's not just money, Mom. Heat flushed my face. It's fairness. It's feeling like I matter for more than my paycheck. Leo scoffed. Playing the martyr again. No one forced you, Maya. You enjoyed being the savior. Sam added, his voice cutting. Maybe you thought cash would buy Mom and Dad's love, get you up to our level. The words struck hard. I looked at my parents. Dad studied his water glass. Mom just looked tired. Of me. Their silence screamed the truth. I swallowed, breathing deep to steady myself. Okay. My voice was low even. If that's how it is, fine. I pushed my chair back, stood up. But I'm deciding something too. Effective immediately, the bank is closed. No more money. Not for the house, not for Leo's schemes, not for Sam's supplies. Nothing. I saw their stunned faces as I walked out, leaving the smell of pot roast and betrayal hanging in the air. Out the front door into the Ohio night. No one stopped me. The long drive back to Seattle was a blur of anger and a weird, rising lightness. Back in my apartment, I grabbed my phone, hands shaking. Why had I kept doing it? Obligation, a stupid hope for a connection. I opened the banking app, found the $2,200 transfer to my parents, hovered over cancel. One beat, two, pressed it. Recurring payment canceled. Bitterness, anger, loss, and underneath it all, a shocking wave of pure, terrifying relief washed through me. It didn't take long. The next morning, my phone buzzed insistently. Caller ID. Mom. I let it go to voicemail. It buzzed again almost immediately. I took a breath and answered, steeling myself. Maya Elizabeth, what have you done? Susan's voice wasn't shouting, not yet. It was tight with a forced, wounded tone. Did you cancel the transfer? We rely on that. Your father is worried sick. How could you be so selfish? Mom? I kept my voice level, betraying none of the turmoil inside. We discussed this yesterday. You all made your decision about my place in this family. I made mine about my finances. It's done. Done! It's not done. This is family. Family helps each other. You're abandoning us just because of some silly will? It wasn't just the will, Mom, and you know it. It was everything. The way you see me, the way you use me, I won't do it anymore. I heard her sharp intake of breath, the prelude to more accusations, more guilt. I have to go, Mom. I hung up before she could launch into it. My hands were shaking again, but this time with resolve. No more automatic transfers, but Leo and Sam had my number for Zelle, Venmo. Always some urgent need, some sob story that usually ended with me sending a few $100 their way. It had averaged out to maybe $1,500 a month between them over the last year. Enough. I went into my contacts, found their names. Block. Then I did the same for my parents. A drastic step, maybe, but necessary. The constant barrage had to stop. It was like cutting off a limb I hadn't realized was gangrenous. Painful, yes, but also necessary for survival. Almost on cue, texts started flooding in from numbers I hadn't blocked yet, likely burner apps or borrowed phones. Leo, WTF Maya? Mom's hysterical. You think this is funny? You owe us. Turn the money back on now. Sam, Maya Plaz, I really need help with art supplies this month. How could you do this? Don't you care at all? Mom's crying BC of you. I read the messages, a cold knot forming in my stomach. Owe them? The sheer entitlement was breathtaking. For years I'd been the emergency contact, the financial first responder, the fixer of their messes. They didn't see a sister, they saw a resource. An ATM that finally malfunctioned. I silenced the notifications, placing the phone face down on the coffee table. The apartment felt huge, echoing with a silence I wasn't used to. No urgent calls demanding intervention, no passive-aggressive texts hinting at upcoming bills, no desperate emails outlining Leo's latest can't-miss investment needing seed money. There was a hollow ache where the constant stress used to be, an emptiness that felt both liberating and deeply unsettling. Was this freedom? It felt quiet. Too quiet. But underneath the quiet, a tiny spark of something new flickered, the first hint of peace. Weeks passed in quiet relief. I started sleeping better, feeling lighter. Maybe the silence meant acceptance. Then a blunt text from an unknown number. Family meeting. Our house. Saturday, 7 p.m. Be there, Mom, obviously. Ignore it? Part of me screamed yes. But another part, foolishly hoping for closure, booked a red-eye back to Ohio. The living room felt staged. Leo and Sam on the sofa, arms crossed. Dad by the fireplace, stiff. Mom in her armchair, dabbing dry eyes. Maya, Mom began, voice trembling. Look what you're doing to us. Your father can't sleep. Dad mumbled, your mother's health. This stress. Leo sneered. Just help out till my venture takes off. Show some loyalty, Sam pleaded. We miss you, Maya. It's about family. It was laughably transparent. The same old script. Any hope I'd harbored vanished. Stop, I said quietly, holding up a hand. I came hoping for a real conversation. This isn't it. I looked at them, really looked at them now. My decision stands. I'm done funding this. I'm done being the villain. We're done. I stood up. I wish you well. Goodbye. I walked out into the silence, the finality settling deep in my bones. Flying back Sunday, I felt exhausted, but free. It was truly over. Late that night, I reached my apartment door in Seattle and froze. The lock was completely sealed shut with superglue. Vicious red spray paint screamed, "Traitor be—" Ice turned to fire in my veins. This was deliberate, malicious. Heart pounding, I pulled up my hallway security camera feed on my phone, fast-forwarded. There. Sam. Hoodie pulled low, but undeniably him. Gluing the lock, then shaking the red spray can, a quick nasty smirk before he fled. A few minutes earlier, Leo doing a quick recon of the hallway. Lookout. My hands clenched. They'd crossed a criminal line. I dialed 911. When the officers arrived, I showed them the clear footage. You know them, ma'am? Yes, my brothers, Sam and Leo. My voice was tight. Press charges? I looked at the defaced door. This couldn't stand. Yes, I said firmly. Absolutely. The police report hit Ohio like a bomb. Predictably, Dad's number lit up my phone, temporarily unblocked. Maya, what have you done? Richard's voice crackled with anger. The police called about Sam. Vandalism. You call them back right now. Tell them it's a mistake. It wasn't a mistake, Dad, I said calmly. I have Sam on video damaging my property. Leo, too, acting as a lookout. I filed a report. Your brother, Maya, over a little paint? And supergluing my lock. That's a crime. If they don't want charges, they pay for the damages. Silence. How much? $3,000, I stated. Locksmith, new hardware, door repair. That's extortion! No, Dad. Consequences! The $3,000 Zelle transfer arrived the next morning. Memo. Hope you're happy. Grim satisfaction flickered, then died. A message from Aunt Carol popped up. Maya, honey, okay. Seeing upsetting things online from Susan. My stomach dropped. I opened Facebook. There it was. Mom's long, teary-eyed post about her eldest daughter's cruel abandonment. How my Seattle success had turned me cold, cutting off my struggling family in their time of need. How poor Sam was simply acting out from the stress I'd caused. Not a word about the will, the years of my financial support, or the actual criminal vandalism. Just me, the heartless villain. The comments poured in, waves of sympathy for Susan, streams of condemnation for me. Ungrateful child. Money changes people. Praying for your family, Susan. Fury surged through me. Cold, clear anger, not directed at the clueless strangers echoing my mother's lies, but at my own family, deliberately twisting reality, weaponizing victimhood to punish me for escaping their control. They didn't just want my silence. They wanted to destroy my reputation, too. They wanted to make this public? Fine by me. I stared at the screen, the fake sympathy and judgment blurring before my eyes. Silence wasn't strength anymore, it was surrender. They had dragged this fight into the open square. Let them face the unvarnished truth. I opened a new note on my phone. My fingers flew across the virtual keyboard. Dates, amounts, transfers, mortgage contributions, utility bills paid. Every single one of Leo's failed ventures I had funded. Sam's rent checks, art supplies, car repairs, the recent $3,000 payment for the vandalism damage clearly labeled, the details of the will cutting me out completely. Everything. If my family wants this public, I typed, my resolve hardening into steel with every word, then let's show everyone the whole damn truth. I attached screenshots of transfers and the damage payment as proof, took a breath, and hit share. The online reaction was immediate. My phone buzzed nonstop. Messages poured in. Aunt Carol expressing shock. Other relatives retracting their sympathy for Mom or asking pointed questions on her post. The carefully crafted victim narrative was crumbling in real time. Then Mom's number flashed, bypassing the block. I answered. Maya, what have you done? Susan's voice was pure rage. You've humiliated this family. Your father's beside himself. How could you air everything like this? You made it public first with lies, Mom. My voice was steady, cold. I simply provided the truth with receipts. You're tearing us apart! You're no longer part of this family! Don't ever contact us again! We are done! She shrieked, the finality echoing her earlier decision about the will. A strange calm enveloped me. The last chain broke. Okay, Mom, I understand. I didn't wait for more. Goodbye, Susan. I ended the call, and then nothing. Absolute silence from Ohio. No angry follow-ups, no pleading texts. It was as if a door had firmly clicked shut. The quiet wasn't empty this time. It felt clean, definitive. No tears, just the profound sense of an ending. A necessary, painful amputation was complete. Without the constant drain of family crises, my energy surged. My mind felt clear. I dove into my work at the tech firm with renewed focus. My team tackled a challenging project, and driven by a newfound clarity, I led us to deliver exceptional results ahead of schedule. The reward followed. A promotion to project lead, a corner office overlooking Puget Sound, and a substantial raise. Standing there watching the ferries, I felt a wave of accomplishment pure and undiluted by guilt or obligation. This success was mine, earned and owned. The promotion was solid, but I craved something more fundamental. Space. That solo road trip through the national parks out west, the one perpetually deferred due to family needs? Now was the time. I booked a 2 weeks off, flew to Salt Lake City, rented a capable SUV, and just drove. Through Utah's staggering canyons beneath Arizona's impossible arches, I felt dwarfed by the raw beauty and ancient silence. I hiked challenging trails in Zion and Bryce, pushing my body, clearing my head miles away from code and familial chaos. Standing at the rim of the Grand Canyon at sunrise, the vastness didn't make me feel small. It made the old anxieties feel small. It was more than a vacation. It was a recalibration. Out there, I wasn't defined by my family role. I was just Maya, connecting with the earth, feeling capable and independent in a way I hadn't before. I returned to Seattle feeling fundamentally different, lighter, more grounded, more myself. I started intentionally building a life that reflected this new reality. Joined a weekend hiking group, finding easy camaraderie amongst people who love the Cascades. Attended a couple of women in tech events, making professional connections that felt energizing, not draining. Slowly, organically, friendships formed based on shared passions and mutual respect, not history or obligation. Inevitably, news from Ohio filtered through via Aunt Carol's carefully neutral emails. Dad, Richard, was working graveyard shifts at a large distribution warehouse. Mom, Susan, had taken a part-time job cleaning motel rooms on the outskirts of town. Both were showing the strain whenever Carol saw them at the grocery store. Leo's much-hyped startup had collapsed predictably, leaving investors angry. Sam was still trying to make it as an artist, complaining online about his lack of breaks, but apparently selling very little. I read these updates with a calm, quiet detachment. There was a faint echo of sadness, perhaps, for the potential of what could have been, but no guilt. No impulse to intervene or rescue them from the situations they had largely created for themselves. They had sown the seeds of their current situation, the entitlement, the refusal to adapt, the ultimate betrayal, and lashing out with vandalism. These were the natural consequences blooming. Their choices, their reality to navigate. Not mine. That first holiday season without the obligatory tense trip back to Ohio felt liberating. I hosted a small Friendsgiving at my Seattle apartment. Aunt Carol flew out, bringing her famous pecan pie and a hug that felt like genuine warmth, not duty. My new hiking buddies and friends from my tech circle filled the space with easy conversation and laughter. It was a world away from the forced smiles and underlying currents of resentment that had defined past family gatherings. Later, after everyone had gone, I sat by the window watching the city lights sparkle across the water. Losing the family I was born into had left a scar, no doubt, but I saw clearly now that what I'd lost wasn't true family, but a web of obligation and conditional acceptance that had been slowly suffocating me. Family isn't just blood. It's the people who choose to see you, value you, and support you. People like Aunt Carol, like the friends whose laughter still seemed to echo warmly in the room. My parents and brothers, by trying to assert final control and declare my worthlessness through the will, had inadvertently handed me the key. They severed the last frayed tether I hadn't quite dared to cut myself. Their final act of rejection became my ultimate liberation. They had set me free. The anger I had carried for so long was gone, replaced by a quiet, settled calm. The life stretching ahead was entirely mine to shape, mine to live fully, without the weight of their expectations, without guilt or apology. I raised my glass of water to the reflection in the window, a woman standing tall and on her own 2 feet, finally free, and deeply, profoundly at peace.